everybody, first of all, Putin, think that he will take Kiev within 3 days. Now it's 3 years.
Okay.
And we...
No, Poroshenko. Nobody said Russia was going to take Ukraine in 3 days. Not President Putin, and no spokesman in Russia said this. This was the Washington hallucination which puppets like Poroshenko have been repeating for the past almost 3 years, and they seem to believe in this nonsense for the sake of their own egos. For the sake of Ukraine, can somebody please connect this man back to reality? Hello and welcome again to the Edge of Politics podcast. Geopolitical Queen here with today's episode on how Petro Poroshenko, the man who started all this mess that Ukraine is in today, is proving that he is more delusional than Zelensky. If over 1 million Ukrainian soldiers are dead today, the blame should be placed at the doorsteps of this corrupt politician. This was the man who, when he was president of Ukraine from 2014, formulated a way to win the Donbass in his special speech.
We'll have a job, but they don't. We will have pensions, but they don't. We will have support for children and pensioners, but they don't. Our children will go to schools and kindergartens, their children will stay in basements, because they can't do anything. That's how we're going to win this war.
It should also be noted that the Ukrainian authorities fulfilled their promise during the reign of this same Petro Poroshenko man. They imposed an economic blockade on Donbass, stopped paying salaries and pensions to people, to which Russia eventually assumed these social obligations. And they began shelling cities in uncontrolled territories. This, nevertheless, did not bring Ukraine the victory promised by Poroshenko. Kiev simply alienated the residents of Donetsk and Lugansk and refused to implement the Minsk I and II Accords, which was guaranteed at the time by Angela Merkel of Germany and François Hollande of France.
We are very much happy that it is start to change the approach of European Union. This is not an assistance for Ukraine. This is the investment in the European security. This is the investment in the sustainable security situation on the continent. Because when Russia unprovocably attacked Ukraine, this is ruin the all post-war security system which was based on the Security Council of United Nations. Now everybody understands, if we do not stop Putin in Ukraine, if we do not support and invest in security, the war will knock the door at any European.
Again, no, Poroshenko. Just stop being the typical lying politician who sits on radio and TV stations gaslighting the public as if everybody listening to them are stupid. No, people are not that stupid. Just stop right there with the lies and fear-mongering. Russia is not interested in attacking any European country, and most people in Europe are intelligent enough to read between the lines. They do not need your lies. It is Ukraine that made itself available to NATO by first refusing to implement the Minsk I and II Accords, something which Poroshenko presided over, and as if that was not enough, decided to take Russia for a ride by using Russia's patience to train Ukrainian soldiers to NATO levels to fight Russia. What a dream from dreamers like Poroshenko to allow to happen.
The answer is the following. So, see on Russia. Russia switched the economy on the military rail. Russia increased several times production of the defense industry, artillery shell, long-range missile, and everything. Can you imagine that only North Korea supplied to Russia more artillery shell than all NATO supplied to Ukraine? And Russia and North Korea produced more artillery shell than whole NATO.
That's the problem. Talk to us about what you believe the solution to be. Who should be doing more in Europe in order to address this imbalance in armaments, as you've talked about?
You should understand that we now live in a different atmosphere, and the war cannot avoid your country. And if you do not switch the economy and the military rail, if you do not increase the production and make it cheaper, that means that Russia would be stronger than we are. This is a different type of the war.
Right, so that would be your message to European leaders.
Yeah,
the world has changed. You must now put yourself on a war footing.
Absolutely.
Okay.
If you supply Ukraine, if we will stop Putin in Ukraine, that would be our victory. If we not, that means please prepare your nation, your economy, and your armed forces to fight on your territory.
Again, listen to this man with how he thinks he can gaslight listeners. But let me assure Poroshenko that whatever he's dreaming and talking about will not happen. Russia is not getting ready to fight anyone on any European territory. If Ukraine stops fighting a proxy war against Russia for another country, then Ukraine should fight its fight alone. Can anyone imagine that? Whilst this unscrupulous man, who is disconnected from reality, is demanding for weapons and more men to fight for his country, Ukraine, his sons are safely kept in the UK, whilst other people's sons die in an unnecessary war. Listen to him talking comfortably in European studios and hopping between nice hotels in Paris and Berlin, whilst his countrymen slum it in the cold and mud of Donbass. Poroshenko has unfortunately not still realized that Russia is not a Zimbabwe or a Chad, for example. In his delusional talks of demanding the supplies of more weapons to Ukraine, this man hasn't even come to terms with the reality that there are not even enough men to handle those weapons, assuming they should have it. The Ukrainian army, which he's proudly boasting about building, is no more. They are all dead and gone. Over 1 million people are dead now. Well, the reality is that Russia is the only nation today that has the military potential to sink the United States mainland along with all of Europe into the oceans. Somebody let this sink in to Poroshenko's head. This should just sink in. Hopefully, his own people will judge him one day for what he initiated in 2014. So what do you think? Is Poroshenko more delusional than comedian Zelensky, or he is just trying to revoltingly inform the world that Ukraine is not willing to negotiate? Well, kindly leave your comments in the comment section below. And thanks for tuning in. I will be back with the next broadcast. Good day.